Hello, I'm Ben and you're watching The PhD Parent. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about achievement of motor milestones in kids. So some research in the field of motor development has focused on the development of standards for the achievement of motor milestones, whereas other research can be construed as focused on the development of references for such achievement. Now, if you're not familiar with the difference between a standard and a reference, a standard is prescriptive, reflecting how kids should develop across all settings. A standard is generated by sampling individuals who are healthy and living under conditions that are very unlikely to drive the occurrence of health problems. A reference, on the other hand, is descriptive, reflecting how kids happen to develop in a specific setting and at a specific time. A reference is generated by sampling individuals in an entirely unselected way, that is, healthy and unhealthy without regard to living conditions. So in the following, I'm going to first look at research that forms the basis of our current standards for achievement of motor milestones, before then briefly considering research that provides references for achievement of these milestones. So, on to standards. The World Health Organization, or WHO, Motor Development Study is, as far as I can tell, the only research program that sought to develop standards for the achievement of motor milestones. Now you can access the published articles using the following link. In short, this work was part of a broader longitudinal research effort designed to assess growth and development in children from birth to 5 years of age. The researchers assessed about 800 kids across 5 countries: Ghana, India, Norway, Oman, and the USA. 6 motor milestones, which the researchers considered, this next bit's a bit of a mouthful, to be fundamental and universal to the acquisition of self-sufficient erect locomotion, that is, walking without help, were of interest. Sitting without support, hands and knees crawling, standing with assistance, walking with assistance, standing alone, and walking alone. The key aim of the research was to generate windows of achievement, which represent normal variation in the age at which healthy kids should achieve these 6 motor milestones, except for crawling, but more on that later. There are at least 2 reasons why these windows are useful. First, they give you some idea of when a healthy kid is likely to demonstrate each motor milestone, which is probably what a lot of folks are interested in. Second, the WHO researchers argue that, after the age of 9 months, these windows can be used to identify a kid who may be late in achieving a milestone, or milestones, as indicated by achievement outside of the window, and so may benefit from assessment by a medical professional. Now, if you're wondering, the reason for the 9-month starting point is that this represents the earliest closure of an achievement window. So in this table, you'll see the average age that each milestone is achieved and the achievement window. I've rounded the data to the nearest 0.5. The lower and upper bounds of each window are defined as the estimated 1st and 99th percentiles respectively. So as you can see, for healthy kids, the same motor milestones may be achieved at different ages. And the amount of variation in the age at which healthy kids meet each milestone differs depending upon which milestone you're looking at. For example, the narrowest window is sitting without support, 5 months, but there's a much wider window for standing alone, 10 months. So in the WHO study, the researchers pointed out that no assumptions were made concerning the sequence in which kids would exhibit these motor milestones. Now this turned out to be a good call because kids display different patterns of milestone attainment. So here are the patterns of motor milestone achievement shown by kids. So the milestone that differed most in terms of when it was achieved within the sequence was crawling, and in fact, not every kid crawled. Now, do boys and girls differ in terms of when they achieve motor milestones? The answer to this one is no. So in a follow-up paper by the WHO group, the researchers investigated whether boys and girls differed in terms of when they achieved the 6 motor milestones. And the analyses conducted didn't reveal any such difference. So now on to references for the achievement of motor milestones. So as mentioned, other studies carried out in the area of motor milestone achievement can be construed as providing references for such achievement. There are, of course, some discrepancies between the findings of these studies and the WHO study, with some studies suggesting that these milestones are achieved on average a bit earlier than suggested by the WHO study, and other studies suggesting that they're achieved a bit later. Now these discrepancies could reflect differences across studies in the design employed, for example cross-sectional versus longitudinal, the method of data collection, for example trained research workers versus parental reports, the approach to sample recruitment, for example whether living conditions are considered, the frequency of assessments, 2 months versus 6 months, and a bunch of others. Overall though, the magnitudes of discrepancies are minor. For example, Kasabian reported the age of achievement of motor milestones of about 6,200 kids. Except for maybe crawling and walking with assistance, the average ages at which children in this study achieved the motor milestones were very close to those reported in the WHO study. And as with the WHO data, the study by Kasabian and others also didn't find evidence of any differences between the age at which boys and girls achieved motor milestones. So when should you be worried about your kids' motor development? So I had a look around at the research, but the best thing I came across was this resource developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics. This website will probably give better information than anything I could come up with, so I'd suggest taking a look. So that's it for Motor Milestones. If there's anything I've gotten wrong, any important research I've overlooked, or if you have any questions, then feel free to get in touch. Otherwise, happy parenting.